Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Get Up 10. And we are not just in the first week of April, but we are also in the beginning of the second quarter of 2024. And I remember when I had that mindset shift of looking at not just, okay, like we're X months into the year, but like, okay, like first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, and just taking time to like reflect, make adjustments, especially looking back on like all that God has done and what I feel like He's doing in my life this year. So I hope that you're taking time to do the same. And if you feel like you're in the midst of a transition or something has just come to an end or needs to come to an end in your life, I encourage you to check out my book, Thrive: How to Let Go, Find Purpose, and Flourish When Staying Seems Easier. And the link will always be in the show notes. But yeah, I hope that you're just taking this time to regroup and continue to move forward, because I still believe that there is so much goodness up ahead in this year. So here's to a prosperous second quarter of 2024. Speaking of prosperous, today I am speaking with Priscilla Lopez. She is a child of the King. And when we say child of the King over here, we mean Jesus Christ. She's a boy mom, an educator, an entrepreneur. And she is also the co-host of the Abundant Latinas podcast, which is on Spotify. And if you're wondering who's the other host, go back and listen to the episode with Libby Rodriguez. That is her co-host. So now we get the other half with Priscilla this week, and I'm so excited. This conversation was personally very encouraging to me as a single mom. So whether you're a single mom or a single dad, or maybe you're an auntie or uncle and you know somebody that's a single parent, or maybe you at one point were a single parent yourself, I hope that you will find so much encouragement in this episode. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I almost said hi, Libby, but hi, Priscilla. Welcome to Get Up 10. And I
Good
almost said
morning.
that because you are the other co-host of the Abundant Latinas podcast.
I am, and funny fun fact, Coach David Power Talk, from day one when both her and I joined his team 2 or 3 years ago, he would always confuse us. He would always call me Libby and her Priscilla. And no lie, his first event, he kept yelling my name. And I said, I'm right here, but looking at Libby. So she's like, I'm Libby. So
That's
it's
so
okay.
funny. No, I know the difference between you two. The only reason I did that is because I wanted to mention like, oh, like we had Libby 2 weeks ago and now we have you. So that's why it was like in the forefront of my mind. But no, welcome Priscilla to Get Up 10 podcast. How are you? It's the morning where you are.
It is. It is 9:41 Pacific time, and I'm doing really good, thank you. Yeah, it's Good Friday,
Yes.
beginning of my spring break. So,
Yay.
yay.
It is a good Friday.
Yeah. Literally.
You have like any traditions for the Easter holiday?
Typically no, it's usually like family time. My son is already 18, so there's really no like Easter egg hunts that he can do. So now it's just like we go to church, we come home, we have a barbecue, and I have two younger nieces and nephews. So they'll do their little Easter egg hunt, but I have a small family, so there's not very many kids around.
Gotcha. Well, that's still nice. Family time is always good.
Yeah.
You should see the list of Easter events where I live. It's like crazy because I live by like Clearwater Beach, and so it's like a big touristy area. And I'm like, did I want to say where I live? Whatever. Hopefully nobody on the podcast is crazy. Maybe I'll like bleep it out. But anyways, living in the Tampa Bay area, I'll just say there's so many events, and like I'm in some Facebook groups and this one mom made a list of everything and it's like 9 pages long. So
Oh my
last
God.
night I'm like looking to see like, okay, what hasn't passed yet. And I did see a Easter egg hunt that goes up to like 17 years old, I think. And then I saw another one that's like for adults, and I saw another one that's for seniors.
That's
So
so cool. That's so cool.
I'm like so many things. And tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, there's like a whole bunch of bunny breakfast, bunny brunch. like, where was I last year? Because I don't remember any of this. And I know like it was probably
Oh,
happening. I don't know, but
oh, I miss that. That's the stuff that I miss.
I want my daughter to have fun for sure. And then obviously like I know through school and church, she's already like learning about Jesus dying on the cross and like Holy Week, and she's telling me how like Jesus is riding on a donkey. So I'm glad that she's like learning those things too, because that will always be more important than the
Then the bunny.
bunnies and the bird, like whatever
Yeah.
foolishness.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. The cross is more important than the bunny.
Yeah. I'm like, bunnies don't even lay eggs.
No, they don't. They lay other bunnies. And so it's like, where did that come from? The bunny laying the egg. I
Yeah.
can see the chick laying the egg, but I guess it isn't as cute as having a chick come to your door like a bunny. I don't know.
Yeah. I told my daughter that last night. I was like, by the way, like bunnies don't even lay eggs. So we're not gonna have you out here saying that because it's not even true. But let's get into today's discussion. I'm going to give some background. I always like pick and choose, like, am I gonna do the long version or the short version? So I guess I'll do like the short slash the medium version. Short slash medium.
Go for it.
So I created Get Up 10 in 2018, and it was based on a certain rapper, but I don't follow her currently. But at the time, I was just able to watch like her move forward in her career kind of quickly. And in one of her songs, she says, I look myself in the mirror. I said, we gonna win, knock you down 9 times, but I get up 10. And that just really resonated with me because I've always been big on resilience and just like bouncing back after whatever life throws your way and doing it well. I have to add that part because some people, whew, they go through stuff and it shows, or like they go through stuff and they never get out of it. They stay stuck in it. And so on Get Up 10, I want to bring people who are like overcomers and have gone through their experiences. I don't want to say like trials, but sometimes it is tests and trials. People who have gone through those things well so that they can show other people how to do
Yeah.
the same. My daughter is trying to get in the door, but it's fine. Hopefully somebody will grab her soon. It's like toddlers have like super speed where like I don't know, like I tell people to watch her and then I don't know if they like get busy or they fall asleep, but I don't know, she just always escapes.
They're super fast. Before you know it,
Yeah,
you could turn your back and they're gone. It's like, what? And they have so much energy. So it's like, how
exactly.
did you get from point A to point B in so fast, so short a
Yes.
time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
on Tuesday night I went to a local event for single moms and they do have childcare. And I guess like this week some grandmas decided to volunteer their time and they were like, we're here to watch the kids. And I was like, oh, God bless your hearts. Because there was like a good group of kids and they were so energetic. And yeah, I was like, ooh, have fun.
Good luck with you.
But
I'm
anyways,
sure they
that's
went home super tired.
oh, they did. When I was picking up my daughter, that's exactly what one of them said. She's like, I'm gonna sleep so good tonight.
That's
But
funny.
I was a little jealous because like when I tell myself that, like, oh, I can't wait to go to bed. It's the nights that I end up like wide awake for hours.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay. So back to Get Up 10. I really wanted to like highlight people who are overcomers and who have like gone through their different experiences, however you want to call it, tests, trials, childhoods, whatever, like who have gone through those things well and are able to like encourage and inspire others to do the same. And also with that particular rapper, it's Cardi B. I feel awkward saying like a rapper with Cardi B.
I had a feeling. I just didn't want to say anything.
Yeah. I sometimes I don't know like if my guests know who she is or not. So I'm like, I don't know. Anyways, with Cardi, like I just also admired how authentic she was with her online presence as she like rose to fame. She would go live like in the project. She would go live before her teeth were fixed. Like she would go live with her wig off. And like I just always thought like I admired the authenticity, and I just thought like if more people would just show up and be less concerned about looking perfect or their surroundings or whatever, and would just do the thing, like show up, do the thing God told you to do, like go live, build the community, build the brand, whatever, in spite of like all these superficial things, like how much more like successful people would there be, or like how many more things would be started and like in motion if people got over that. So that's why I focus on resilience and authenticity on my podcast. So with that being said, how has life knocked you down?
There's been like so many things that I could say, but I think the one thing that has really, I wouldn't say knocked me down, but being a single mom, it's hard. Like, I mean, I had my child older, I was 30 when I had him, and I had no idea what to do. It's like literally, here you go. Bye. And I'm looking at him like, what do I do? Like I had no guidance. I mean, who does as a mom, right? When you're a first time mom, who has that guidance? But it was just me, and I know there's a lot of single moms out there that young, old, what middle age, whatever, that are going through that. How do I do this by myself? And it was hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's been hard. Even though he's 18 now, I still like support him in a lot of ways, so that he doesn't feel like he's alone. But just the whole infant stage is like I didn't know how to change a diaper. I didn't know, am I gonna breastfeed him? Am I going to give him a bottle? What the heck do you do? And then no, okay, so he had a daycare or a sitter. Fast forward, and she literally potty trained him because she's like, he's potty trained already. I'm like, oh, okay, good, because I wouldn't know what to do. So that was like a blessing, and then just not only the whole caring for him and learning how to manage your time and your own personal self-care time, that was a challenging. Then plus I was going to do my teaching credential to or finishing up my teaching credential, I should say. And just so going to school, working, having him, taking care of him, just all that bundled up in one, it was a lot. A lot. Now I'm happy as can be. And could I do it all over again? Probably yes, but what I want to know. You
Understood.
know, so yeah, so for any single mom, you could do it. Just find that support system, whether if you have family, if you have like a church group, women's group, whatever, but you definitely need that support system. And luckily, I had my mom. So like after work, I would drive to school, which was about 2 hours away. And I would get home super late. So sometimes I would pick him up from my mom's house. Sometimes she would just bring him to me in the morning. I'd change him, bathe him and take him to daycare as I go to work. So luckily I had her. But I think if I didn't have her and it was just solo me, like 100%, I don't know if my sanity and would I be here? Would I have given him up for adoption within the weeks of times? Could doubting myself, my own capabilities. Can I do this by myself? All those thoughts come into your mind. It's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard.
it is. I feel the same way because I feel like we get to like learn more about each other, which is I'm excited because I didn't know all this about you. I don't, I didn't, yeah, because we like just met a couple weeks ago in person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm literally learning about you as we go, and it's so much fun. But with my story, like I had, I'm trying to figure out how far back to go in the story. Long story short, I got into a relationship, got pregnant, moved away, got married, bought a house within like not even a year's time. All this stuff happened. And so then fast forward to like after I had my daughter and I realized like, okay, I this is not a healthy situation. Like, I can't stay here. The thoughts did cross my mind, like, okay, do I go back to my house in North Carolina? And because I had my job already. So I'm like, I have my job, I have my house. Like, do I go back and thug it out? Because that's what it was gonna be. But like, I just could not deal with the thought of like putting my daughter into daycare at and so early, because I didn't even have like a full maternity leave because I started my job while I was pregnant, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't. So I decided to stay with my parents and quit my job, and I felt so bad. Like to this day, I'm like, I hope my manager knows that like that's not who I am, and I was in an abusive relationship. I didn't want to quit the job. And I saw her creeping on my TikTok the other day. So I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever see her one day or if she'll put two and two together on my social media. But I just think about if I had stayed in that house by myself, raising my daughter by myself, because I didn't have a lot of support. I'm like, I don't think I would have been okay, like
Yeah. Yeah, you
mentally.
need that support because by yourself, no, you're gonna drive
A
yourself
lot.
insane. And I understand, I totally get about the whole daycare putting him or her at the time. Well, for you, her, for me, him, putting
Hmm.
young, an infant because I had those thoughts like, oh my gosh, you hear all these
The
like
horror stories.
stories.
Yeah,
Yes, it's like, what are they doing to him? Is he okay? Is his diaper getting changed?
exactly.
Just thought after thought after thought. I'm like, Priscilla, you can't think like that. You can't, you have to work. You have no choice. You have to work. So you need to, push forward and just trust for the best for him. It was
Exactly.
hard. It was very,
Yeah.
very hard. But I mean, obviously, I overcame it. He
Yeah.
overcame it. He did. I don't know if I should, I'm just gonna say it. He did, go through some issues there at his daycare. They weren't positive. And okay, have you ever heard that saying, when a baby cries and they don't want to be in that environment, there's something wrong, right? I
Hmm.
don't know if you've ever heard that. Him, he would do that. He was maybe was he a year? He might have been a year, maybe less than. I don't even remember. But I'd carry him, give him to the sitter, and he like lunge and reach for me crying. I'm like, no, you have to stay. I can't stay with you. And he would just cry and cry and cry. I didn't know why. Fast forward to when he was able to talk, like, I don't know, I want to say two, maybe three-ish, you know, he told my mom, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart because I didn't know. I didn't know. He couldn't verbalize anything at that time. But his daycare lady, because it was a lady, she didn't have like a whole, establishment. It was just a lady. She treated him wrong. She did a
Hmm.
lot of bad things to him. Well, I'm not going to go into detail, but just a lot of bad things. And I felt so bad. And he just randomly, at having breakfast at my mom's, he was little, two, maybe three, two or three around there. Three, I think. Anyways, having breakfast. And he just said, my Nana, who was his babysitter, my Nana did this. My Nana would do that. Just it all came out. I'm like, oh. So then my mom, when I picked him up that day, said, Mija, talk to your son. And I said, okay. He goes, just so that all right there. Tell your mama what you had told grandma. And then like everything, I'm like, I just bawled, cried. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. So for
Yeah.
you being able to stay home with your little girl, that is a blessing. That is a blessing
Yeah.
because there really are horror stories, and luckily for my son, he's overcome that. Have we ever seen that lady again? No. Did I ever confront that lady? No, I should have, but I know me and I know my temper, and I probably would be behind bars. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it go. Just let it go because I know how I am, and it's
Yeah.
not worth it to lose the rest of my life for just one person.
Yeah. Ugh, I'm so sorry that happened. And I know
Yeah.
I can only imagine like how hard that is as a mom, because all you want to do is like protect our babies. And so
Yes.
I can only imagine how heartbreaking that must have been. And I have only been able to be as present as I have for my daughter by like the grace of God, literally. Because yeah, I don't he's just been sustaining me almost 4 years now. She'll be 4 in June. And yeah, I'm grateful.
You
To
really are.
God because even when I did try to go back to work at first, like I had my family to watch her. And I remember when we were talking about moving to Florida as a family, like my mom's always a stay-at-home mom growing up for me. So I was like, okay, well now she'll be a stay-at-home grandma. But then that wasn't what happened. Like God had her continue to work, which sometimes actually not even recently, but like in the beginning, I was kind of annoyed by it. I was like, oh, like be a stay-at-home grandma so I can go back to work.
Yeah.
Like be with your granddaughter. But now that we've been in this thing, and well, not only that, like my daughter started preschool, so that helped. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like I have I get that break while she's at school. So I don't even think about my mom helping me with her more, but it really is like a is it family affair? I don't know. Like they all help me with her, and I'm just
Yeah.
thankful, so thankful, because I need those breaks sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, you do. Especially when they're toddlers, young, pre-K age. It's like you're with them 24/7. And when do you have that time, just to breathe?
Yes.
Just to go out and take a drive and come back and say, okay. Yeah, everybody needs those breaks, I believe.
Can I ask, like, because
Yeah.
one thing that my eyes have been a little bit more open to, especially as I am more involved in that local organization that I mentioned that helps single moms, like the way that single moms become single moms is not always the same. So, like, what was the circumstances around you becoming a single mom?
With Marcus, and that's my son, his father passed away. But
Oh,
me and him, we weren't together at all. You know, he was in Marcus's life prior to him passing away, but he passed away when Marcus was 2.
oh wow.
So regardless whether he was in Marcus's life or not, we weren't like officially together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, it was nice when he was around and he would take Marcus on the day or the weekend or whatever it was, but he had passed away when Marcus was like 2 and a half. Yeah.
So since okay, so I have made like more single mom friends in recent times, and like I'm like, should I be saying this on my podcast? I don't know. We're just gonna keep it real. Like one of my friends, she lost her daughter's father. Like he passed away last year, and it was so hard on her. And like to this day, she's like actively grieving, especially as like different occasions and holidays and things come up. It's hard for her. And she is very expressive about like her love for this man, even though before he passed away, I know like there was still things that he needed to work on, I guess, for them to like really be a family unit. But she did have love for him. Whereas like for me and my I'm gonna say baby daddy because he's like my ex-husband. My ex-husband, it's like I don't I feel like, and I can only speak like hypothetically, but it's like if he was to like pass away or something, like yeah, I would be sad for my daughter, but I don't know if it wouldn't be like a heartbreak, I guess is what I'm really saying. Like, because it just wouldn't be like I don't have that type of like love or hope for him anymore. And so like I would definitely be sad for my daughter. And yeah, like we did have our memories, but even then, like as time passes, like those memories are getting further and further away. They're not as fresh, or like I don't hold on to them actively. So like when your son's father passed away, like was that hard for you? Like was it shocking? Like how was that for you?
For myself as an individual, no. But because obviously I'm female, he's male, to raise him, w- it been challenging and difficult because they go through things that I didn't go through, you
Yeah.
know? So just to raise him in that sense, it's been hard because it's like, man, I wish his dad's name was Robert. I wish Robert was here to show him X, Y, and Z. Or,
Hmm.
or like even just the basics like going fishing or, stuff like manly things,
Yeah.
like he expressed when he was younger, I want to go fishing. Okay. I don't know how to do that. We're gonna have to YouTube everything.
You can learn
So in
anything on
that
YouTube.
sense, yes, I do miss him in that sense.
Yeah.
But for myself, no.
It wasn't like your heart wasn't broken, like
No, no,
long grief. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Were you able to find like male role models? I was gonna say role figures.
no.
I always am like mixing up words together. Male role models like for your son over the years.
Luckily, he's since 3.5, 4. He went to a Christian school all the way from there, all the way till his senior year in high school. So luckily in the elementary age, they had like what were they called? They were called watchdogs, right? Or watchdogs, but they were, I don't remember how the acronym was broken up, but basically it was dads that like kind of catered to the community, the elementary portion. So at the time, there was a friend of mine, and she still is a friend, but her dad or her husband, sorry, her husband kind of took Marcus under his wing, and then I had another friend who would take Marcus under his wing, and those two males were like really positive in his life, and I could say one of them still is, when he sees Marcus, and I know Marcus has a lot of respect for him, so he'll say, hey, how you doing, and like have conversations with him. So I appreciate it for that, here in my sorry. Here in
Okay.
family, in family, I can't say I do. I can't. I mean, I'm being honest. I really can't say. I mean, I appreciate them because I know that they love him, but
Yeah.
are they a positive influence in his life? Like showing him good over the bad? No. Where these two other individuals and this one particular family like literally took Marcus under the wing and literally formed him and stuff, that I am appreciative for that particular community within his school called the Watchdogs, because I
Nice.
think without that, I think it would have been really hard, even more difficult for me to mold him to being a gentleman, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I again like these are things that I was not even really aware of because I have a daughter, which I wanted a daughter so bad. Like even when I was pregnant, I was like, you call it her or it. We're not using the other pronoun because it's a girl. And God did give me my girl. And I'm grateful because I feel like if I did have a boy, like I might have used that as an excuse as why I needed to stay with the father so that he had that male figure in his life.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. And then fast forward to now, like as I'm more involved with one of the local churches, and again, like the single moms organization, so apparently my church does have like a mentorship thing for boys, but it's like once a month or something. And then I was listening to these single moms with sons and how desperately they want for that like male role model for their sons. And then I was listening to the people at church that they were looking for opportunities to like pour into teen boys. And I was like, hey, like you should go call them
Yeah.
moms. They need you. But I just have been able to witness that it's like a very real need that these moms and these sons have. And I don't know if any men are listening to this episode, but you're like a solid man. Like your mentorship, your presence, your wisdom is needed. Yeah.
It really is, because they go through so many things that we as females can't even imagine. And and even if it was a single dad that has having to raise girls, so
Yeah.
the opposites, the roles change. Those dads have no idea what to do with a daughter, especially during the whole puberty and everything. Like, what do I do? So it works both ways. And yeah, as a mom, you're just like, man, what do I do? Do boys go through puberty other than the facial hair? It's like, what happens? Those things,
Yeah.
those questions come through mine. It's like, I don't even know what to do, you know? So luckily, I mean, he turned out well, and I'm grateful for him to be the way he is, because he's whomever he marries, and I'm not just saying it because he's my son, but because I hear it a lot from other like moms and other people within the community and stuff, that he's a good man. Like, he has a good heart. He's very respectable, and he's polite, and just his presence is well known. It's like shown. I don't know how to say it, but it's just he's a good kid. He's not a kid, but he's a good kid. So
Yeah.
whoever he marries, he's gonna know how to treat a woman well, because he was raised by a woman. So
Yeah.
all the single moms out there are worried, like, oh my gosh, my son's gonna turn into. No, you raise him well, he is gonna be an exceptional husband, an exceptional father, because he was raised by you.
Yep. Thank you for saying that. And hopefully that does encourage somebody. Did your son choose to go to college?
Actually, yeah. I mean, I instilled it in him. I really did. And he's seen me go through my master's program when I got my master's degree. I didn't do the whole ceremony because I didn't, which I probably should have, but I didn't. It is what it is. But he's seen the struggles that we've had, and he told me verbatim, I'm not gonna live like you. And I didn't take it to offense, because I'm like, honey, I don't even want you to live like me. I
Yeah.
don't. So you go take care of you and do what you gotta do. And he's going to school to become, he's not too sure which one yet. He either wants to be a dentist or a dermatologist. He's not sure which avenue he's going to take, but kids really do watch what you do. They really do, whether you believe it or not, or they do. So fast forward to like right now, like he started up his own clothing line online,
Nice.
because he sees me doing all this entrepreneurship with the speaking, with the coaching, with everything that I'm working towards.
Mm-hmm.
And he hears, like, when I hear Myron Golden's, I'm on his Zooms Thursday morning.
Okay.
So he hears that. He hears, like, when I was with David, I still am with David, but when I had like the Zooms with him,
Mm-hmm.
and just any other little person that I would put myself into it, like as a seed, he hears it. And so it kind of, everything kind of started click together as the puzzle pieces made a huge puzzle. And he's like, I want to try it. I'm like, do it,
Nice.
do it. And so he's doing good, I think. I mean,
I love that.
he's well-rounded. So he's going to school, he has his little business. He also works part-time. So I shouldn't say little business, because I'm manifesting. It's gonna grow into this big corporation.
Big business.
In Jesus' name.
It's
But
so
yeah.
funny because my daughter is like in this phase where everything has to be big. So like the last week we went to Chick-fil-A and I was just getting her small fries. So the first if you ever been to Chick-fil-A, I don't know if you go there as often as I do. Probably go too much. But like, first you order and then they like confirm it again at the window. So I was like, yeah, can I have a small fries? And she's like, big fries, mom, big fries. And then I get to the window and I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever, big fries, like to her. And then I get to the window and they're like, just confirming, just the small fries, right? And I'm like, yeah. And again, she's like, no, it's the big fries. So it just reminded me of that. But I'm so glad to hear that he has all of that going on and like dentistry or dermatology, like either way, really good things to go into. And I was asking that, I guess, because like as a single mom, I'm already thinking of like I want to start saving for my daughter if she chooses to
You
go to
should.
college or not. I haven't been able to save just yet because I'm also like establishing my own business. And so my finances are not where I want them to be yet, but it's coming. So I don't worry about it. But I guess I was just looking for the encouragement that, like, yes, like, single mom, you can put your kid through college. So I was just wondering, like, is your son doing that? And then, like, were you able to save, or like, was he able to get some really good scholarship?
I really didn't save like I should have because I did pay for his private school and that
Oh
was
yeah.
expensive, so he did go to private school. I think if I would have went the public route, maybe obviously I would have been saved, but I
Yeah.
didn't want that for him. I wanted, the close knit community type of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I chose that for him. But and the community college that he goes to here, it offers your first, as long as you go from high school straight into that community college, it offers those first 2 years free. So he'll complete his first year hit this May. So with that being said, I've been like able to save him whatever he needs, anything. Because I told him you really don't have to work. He chooses to, which is fine. I'm not gonna stop him, that's
Oh
fine.
yeah.
But I give him whatever he needs, whether it's gas or if he needs food or whatever, he knows that I'm gonna help him. Now when he goes on to complete the rest of his 4 years, I'm gonna pay for it. That I mean, I've already committed myself this far paying for his education, and I don't want him to be like me struggling and having to pay those student loans back. At least up to his bachelor's degree, maybe his, a little bit more further. If I
Mm-hmm.
can, I will. But I encourage you though, just to save, even if it's just like $5 here and there, and just kind of putting it, believe me, at the end, it's gonna result to what it is, even if it's for the first year or even 2 years of her education, at least there's something and you don't have to be really stressed about anything. And
Yeah.
like I told him, once you're done with these 2 years, even right now, you need to start looking into like scholarships and stuff to help you pursue. And even my cousin who went through medical, she's going through medical school right now. She's like, just do it. Write your life story. Your life story, Marcus, that's his name, is gonna give you money. Believe it or not, your life story is gonna give you money because you have a heartfelt story, and people are.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound myself or anything. Tell him, but your story is going to really impact others, and they're going to want to contribute because they see the drive, they see the hunger within you, and they're going to want to contribute that money to make your success go even further.
Yeah, that's so true. And for like the past few years now, I have really believed that, like, if you're able to clearly articulate a vision or your story, like, there's people that will be willing to fund it as long
Yeah.
as you can, like, communicate it well. So I
Yeah.
believe that. And I'm encouraged because my daughter is also in private school. And yeah, I'm like, okay, like, I can do this. I have time. Because sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I need to be saving like yesterday. Like, I'm behind.
No, just
But
yeah, don't put so much on yourself. You have the time. And just like I
yeah.
said, a little bit goes a long way. Believe it or not. I mean, look, I don't know if you go to Starbucks. I'm a Starbucks addict, okay? So one year I calculated, no lie, what are they now? Like $7 more or less, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every day, and I calculated, I think for that one year, what was it? I want to say it was like $1,500 that I invested into this dumb company. My gosh, darn it, I show stock. So just think, okay, that
Oh
$5 or $7 that you put
yeah.
into your daughter's education in that one year, and if you do it daily, just think of
Mm-hmm.
you getting coffee. It's gonna accumulate.
Thank you for saying that because I put aside money to invest and I still haven't done it yet. And I really feel like I'm supposed to get some stocks. So yeah. And that's what I tell myself too. It's like, okay, maybe I don't have like all this extra money to put aside right now, but like in 5 or 10 years, I can be in a completely different financial situation and save up that money real quick. So I will not worry right now about the future. But I definitely want to, set my daughter up for whatever it is that she wants to do. And like you said, even if it's just for the first 2 years, like that's still a great foundation. So I guess I needed the encouragement.
You're welcome.
That part was for me. And that's just awesome. And also to hear you like say like, yes, I have contributed and will continue to contribute is awesome. So my parents well, I mean, my parents had 4 kids to put through school.
That's
So
harder.
yeah, and they have always kept us in private school. They always wanted us to be in Christian schools, and then like they did get to a point financially where like my younger 2 siblings were not able to attend, and then they end up like homeschooling them. And then now like I'm actually the only one of my siblings with a college degree because the middle 2 siblings did certificates through ministry school. So they had like a different path, and then but I mean they're still like I don't know if I want to say like successful, but like they're still like they have jobs that are able to sustain them, and like they my brother has like such an adventurous life. I'm like, what why did you get the rich friends? Like he enjoys his job, and like he is always traveling and like doing all these amazing things. My sister, I just see how like God continues to make a way for her in her career, and she works like almost every single day. It's like crazy, but I'm like, do you, boo? Because Lord knows if I did not have my daughter, I wouldn't mind working as much as she does either. And my youngest brother is excelling in uh track and field right now. So I think that he will probably have like opportunity scholarships and opportunities through that. So it's like God always will like make a way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay, so let's go to the next question. I'm laughing because on last week's episode, I left these questions alone. Like we were just talking about so much last week. I was like, no, we're just not even gonna use questions. And I feel like you did answer some of this already, but I like to ask it like specifically so that if somebody, for like another single mom is listening to this, she has like concrete things that she could do. So, how have you been able to like get back up, to bounce back, to thrive, even as a single mom? Like, what were some key things that you would recommend or suggest, or that have been like pivotal to your journey as a single mom?
I think the first and foremost for myself, I really relied, and I even still to this day, I mean, all my life I will be, but I rely on God a lot, a lot. It's like, okay, what next? All these things kind of were thrown at me, and I was like dodging dodgeball, left, right, where am I going to next? So, but now it's like, okay, I got this. So, those first years were my trial years, if you want to call it that. And now I'm in my my wealthy years. I don't know how you would say it, but now I'm able to financially sustain myself and my home and my son. I'm able now to understand him more versus when he was younger. It's like, I don't know how to give you what you want. I don't know how I'm going to give you what you want, what you need. I need to work X amount of job. And I did. I worked 2 jobs, and I rarely saw him. And now looking back, I feel bad. I really do feel bad because I missed a lot of his younger years, like his toddler, infant years, because I worked 2 jobs just to sustain us financially to get us from A to B. But so that part I feel bad about, but the rest of it was pretty easy. Once I got into the flow of this is how to do it, this is what to do, and asking questions to from other males, like how do I know if whatever, just whatever typical questions that I would need to know from a mom, a boy mom, and asking and observing. And so it got easier as the time went on, and even to the end when he graduated high school. It's like it was an emotional roller coaster for sure, but I was able to sustain myself emotionally, financially, and mentally because I had to ask those questions to other male figures that he looked up to, that I looked up to, because I didn't backtrack. I didn't have a dad. I didn't have it as so hopefully this will break that generational curse if they call it that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a dad, so it's not like I could say, hey, dad, help me with, I didn't have one. I was kind of like the same Marcus. I was born unwed. So was Marcus. But I've had those male figures in my life that I really respected and I looked up to, and I would ask questions, and or they would just give me feedback. Hey, Priscilla, da 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 da. Oh, okay. I didn't even think about those questions, but thanks. So luckily I had that. So I just, for people, just women who have these sons, just look for guidance. You need that guidance, to sustain you mentally and emotionally. For the dads, the same, look for guidance from other females because you're going to need that. You need that guidance. And that's really how to get me from point A to where I'm at right now. And I could say right now, I think I'm okay. I really think I'm okay. I'm like, huh, I raised a great kid. It was
Yes.
hard, but I raised a great kid.
I'm like, even just listening to you is giving me hope. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I do have a couple more questions that just popped up as I'm listening to you. But can you speak to first a little bit more specifically like where you found community over the years, just in case somebody's listening and they're like, I don't really have community, or like you said earlier, like I have people, but they're not exactly
Yeah, my
role models.
community was really my church family. My church family was my community whom I looked up to. And then even because I'm, an educator, so there was like some teachers, male teachers, who I admired as being a husband, as being a dad, and this particular person was a girl dad. And just him involved, and he's married, obviously, and him being involved in his daughter's lives. And so I would ask him questions, just fatherhood in general, not necessarily how to raise a boy, how to raise a girl, but just that fatherhood in general. And he is like this wealth of wisdom. I'm like, whoa, okay. And then within the church community too, just speaking to other husbands, other fathers, just getting that wealth of knowledge. So that is my community,
I love
and I
that.
appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a blessing. And the other thing that I was thinking about as I'm listening to you is like, at what point did you decide to start pursuing entrepreneurship as like a single mom? Like, was that something you desired early, or like was there something that happened over the years that made you like shift into entrepreneurship?
For myself, it was about actually it just kind of fell in my lap, in all honesty. When I first saw David Power Talk on, I think it was Instagram, and I think it was during his whole COVID ordeal. So this was what, maybe 3 years ago, right? And I just kind of like started following him and like observing his day to day when he was going through it. And then all of a sudden he bounced back and then announced his community and stuff, and I joined it. Not oh, I joined it because it was a mindset community when he first began. And I joined it because I needed that positive mindset, that correct mindset, that growth mindset. I needed it for me because I was just like not in a happy place. Oh, sorry. Not in a happy place. And anyways, from there and then going to his first mastermind and listening to all these entrepreneurs and stuff, and it's not easy, so don't think, oh, entrepreneurship, this is easy, it's a piece of cake, I'm gonna make 6 figures in a week. Honey, no, you're not. I hate to burst that bubble, but no, you're not. But it's hard, and just hearing him, like, you know what, I want to do that because I don't want to be working forever. Even though I'm going into 19 years in teaching, and then looking back right now, as a matter of fact, because I'm working with another person doing something else, and he just said, bring up your 403B. So I did, and I looked at it and I almost started crying. I was like, that's how much money I have in there from, because my work contributes, right? For 19 years, I only have that. So that right there, and this was 2 weeks ago, was my eye opener. I'm like, yeah, no, we are going to make this entrepreneurship work because I am going to be my own boss and I am going to create my own wealth and I am going to build my own empire to sustain myself to the lifestyle that I deserve, because we all deserve that lifestyle, and to have that lifestyle for my son too while he is building up his empire. So, and that working 9 to 5, it just ain't it. And I'm noticing that now more and more. I'm like, You're putting this much pressure on me as an educator. You want me now as a teacher? I don't know what people think. Just like in, the medical field that I know you come from, I don't know what people think, but as an educator, you think, oh, you only work, and I'm just throwing up random numbers, 6 hours a day, you go home, you have your weekends, holidays, summers off, honey. No, you don't. No, you don't, because at school, you have all these kids that come in with all sorts of baggage. So you're a psychologist, you're a counselor, you're a nurse, you're a mom, sometimes you're even a grandma, depending, but you're everything all in one, and you have to teach them you know so that piggyback back to how did I become into that. That's, I think, how it just kind of everything just started falling into my lap, and me seeing and knowing that I deserve more. That's why I'm striving for the best, because I know I deserve it.
Yes, I love that. And yeah, like everybody's journey to entrepreneurship is so different because I fell in love with entrepreneurship like early in college or like halfway through, more than halfway through college, my junior year. And so like I'm listening to you talk about like how you worked two jobs just to like make ends meet. And me personally, like where I am, I'm like, God, like I do not have that in me. But I guess it's just because like the mentality is different. Cause it's like I know what is possible through entrepreneurship. And so I'm just like, all right, God, like if I have to go back to a job, like I will. But right now I'm like, I'm faith walking it out, God. Like, let's do this. But it's because I think it's just because I'm like I call myself like brainwashed because I just know like what is truly possible.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you gotta do what's best for you and your household. So, but that's awesome. And I'm excited for what you will continue to build and like what your son will even do and just how it will like play out for even the next generation, Lord willing. And also,
Yeah.
this is like a random thought that I had while I was listening to you again. Did you ever want more kids?
I do. I mean, I'm too old now. Well, I don't know, because Sarah had a kid.
The
How old
way
was she? Like,
science is these days.
but yeah, I do. Not only for me, but I think, and I've always thought that, like, if I were to pass, I mean, Marcus already doesn't have his dad, right? And if he literally will have no one. And that, like, it's heartbreaking for myself, so I'm like, man, if he had only a brother or a sister, at least they could fight it out together,
Yeah.
So in that sense, yeah. And then plus, I was like, yeah, you know what? It would have been nice to have more. If it
Mhm.
happens, I don't know, I'm old, but but you never
You
know.
never know. And also now again, I'm like another random question. Did you ever try to like date during over these years, or were you like just focused on you and your son? Like,
I had to really focus on me. First, I had to focus on me because that first question that you asked, like life's trials, that's why I said there's so much, which one do I pick from? But I've
mhm.
always battled self-confidence, self-love, self-issue, self-worth issues always. And a lot of it stemmed from my childhood because I've always been overweight. So that piggyback to the fast forward to now, I had to really work on myself and love me. I have to pour my cup before I could pour into anybody else's cup. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at right now. And as far as loving me, I love who I am. And if you don't love me, well, that's just too bad. At least I know I love me, and it is what it is. And right now, would I be interested in dating anybody? I don't know, because right now I'm so focused on my goals and my drive that I'm afraid that if that person doesn't have that same mentality as I, or understands the mentality that I have, they're going to derail me, and I don't want that you know I think if when that time comes, when the person's supposed to come into your life, that person will come into your life. Do I
Yes.
miss having that companionship? Of course I do. But right now I'm just focused on me, focused on where my goals in life, and focused on my kid and his goals in life. And when the time comes, the time will come and the right person will come. And if it's this whole road that I'm working towards, and he's gracefully understands, and then hey, that's more points for you, buddy, because he understands.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that because I kind of feel the same way. I'm like taking a look at the time and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, because I'm just really enjoying like talking to you. But back to focused. I'm in the same season because I being a mother has made me really realize that like the time and energy and emotions that I had to waste on these boys, I'll say boys
Literally, boys.
intentionally. Yeah. Like before, like I don't have that anymore because if you're taken away from me, you're also taken away from my daughter. And then also just being in that focused building season, it's like I do not want to be, like you said, derailed. And so I'm really like adamant about like if you are not making my life easier or better, like you just can't be here. So I completely understand that. I feel like there was something else that you touched on that I was going to comment on, but I can't remember. But yeah, I get that. Oh, and I also agree. I'm not like people ask me like, "Oh, like how's your dating life?" or like, "What's the dating environment like these days?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm not worried about that. Like God's going to bring me who I need when I need him." So,
Exactly.
I don't know what y'all got going over there. That's none of my business. Thank you for touching on those things. So, the last question, which I think is such a perfect transition because you just talked about taking time to like focus on yourself and work on yourself. And so, what does it look like to you to live life with no filter and just authentically be you?
Wow. When you first meet me, any stranger first meets me, she's so quiet, she's so reserved. And even Libby, she'll say that she's like, you just sit back and you observe. And I do, I'm an observer. So I won't like interact with you the normal Priscilla would, I just sit back and I'll sit quiet and I just sit and look and I'll talk. If you talk to me, I'll talk to you. But I'm not gonna go, hey, no. I'm that quiet observer. Once you get to know me, I'm a big dork. I am a big dork, I swear. I think my spirit animal was a panda because I'm so clumsy and I'm so dorky
That's
and,
so cute.
I laugh a lot and people make fun of my laugh because and I don't care because I laugh I have a high pitch and you can hear for miles kind of a laugh. So but I like to have fun and I'm just like, hey, whatever. But you have to really get to know me and there's very few people that know that side of me. And I'm like, oh, it's just Priscilla. But in the beginning, when you first meet me, I'll be like, just quiet. Not because I don't, it's just I'm observing, can I
Yeah,
be myself with you or do I have to be another way with you? You know? Yeah. So me
I
up,
get that.
unfiltered, I'm a dork.
And how did you get to that point where you were like, this is who I am and I'm comfortable?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I am. I think that yeah, this is who I am. That's why you either love me the way I am or you don't.
yes,
You
but
love.
I'm asking like what changed for you to get there? Or like did you hear something? Did you read something? Or like
I think it was just me and the growth experience, just that growth experience, because all my life, or I could say my adult life, I've always been that people pleaser. How can I help you?
yeah.
What do you need? Let me give you, oh, you need that? No problem. And I'm like giving, and to the point where it was empty fumes, and you can no longer do that, and that's one of my friends said, you need to stop. She like real bluntly told me, you need to stop. You need to stop doing that. You need to just stop. I know that's your heart because you have a big heart. And I do. If there's somebody that needs something, okay, because that's who I am,
Hmm.
but I just had to stop pouring into them and pour into me and just start accepting what I look like, what I feel, what I think, because all my life my adult life, I should say,
Hmm.
I always thought, well, people are going to judge me for what I look like, for what I wear, for my weight, for the acne scars that I have. And I'm not perfect. I'm imperfect. They're going to want that nice Latina that has the perfect skin or the perfect hair or whatever it is, And I just was like, I'm not going to fit. I'm never going to fit in that mold because this is the way God made me. And then I heard something recently that God didn't make mistakes. He made you
Yeah,
exactly the way you're supposed to be. So when you go and do these enhancements, you're just telling God, you didn't make me the perfect way that I should be. You're throwing it back in his face. So I think that too,
that
that
is
too
one
right
way of
there,
looking at it.
that too right there is like, you know what, God, this is who you made me. The dork, the acne scarred person, the chunky little monkey. That's all right.
I love that. Well, thank you. Okay, so we're done with the serious questions, and I just have like three really quick, quote unquote, fun questions. I think they're fun. Well, I just say fun because they're not serious. But the first one is if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Amalfi Coast.
Oh,
At one point in time, it was Thailand, but then I heard a lot of horror stories from my friend whose boyfriend does land development and stuff, and he said, tell your friend me you don't want to go to Thailand. I'm like, okay, because
oh.
they glorify it. They glorify it, and they show you. And he's like, you don't. And he told me the reasons why, and I don't want to say it here because I don't want your podcast shut down.
Okay.
So.
Amalfi Coast it is. I'm like, I might have to ask you off the recording. Like, is there something I should know that these influencers are not telling me? Because, anyways, okay, on to the next question. What is a song that either has like gotten you through? Okay, no, I'm saying this all wrong because I normally say it the wrong way. It's a song that is either like an anthem for you that just means so much to you, or just something recently that you've been listening to that has been like so encouraging that you could share, if that
Uh,
makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense. I had songs. I don't think I have an encouraging song that say that's my song and that's what's helped me build the person that I am. I
Hmm.
don't think I have that, but there was an Ed Mylett podcast dealing with like self-love and stuff, and him, there was someone else, I think, was it Inky Johnson? I don't know, but there's been random podcasts that having to do with the whole self-love and stuff that's like I could resonate with you. I understand what you're saying. So those two things or people I appreciate, yeah. So just
Okay.
podcasts in general, I guess.
I love a good podcast. I mean, clearly, because I have my own. And I've just even been thinking like over the years how the podcasts that have spoken to me have like changed. Yeah, I love podcasts. So good. So we'll
Mm.
take it. And the last question is a book recommendation. So it can be either something that you read that really like was eye-opening for you, or something that you read recently that you would like to recommend.
Jeez, what was the name of that book? I read so many books. Um, was it The Power of Why? Let me see. Sorry.
Oh, it's
I know I
okay.
have it on my Audibles. Oh, there was a really good. I'm like, oh, this is good. Let's see. Oh, it was the one of them was hold on, let me Atomic Habits. That one I really, really enjoyed that book. The Atomic Habits, and there was another one. Is it on here? I think it was the Finding Your Why. Yeah, Find Your Why. Find Your Why by Simon Sinek. I hope I pronounced his last name right. And Atomic Habits by
Okay.
James Clear. Atomic Habits is one that I really enjoyed reading.
I feel like I may have heard of Find Your Why. I don't know. I'll look it up later. But Atomic Habits has to be one of the most recommended books out of, because I try to ask almost all my guests this question, and like I would say over a quarter of the guests have said Atomic Habits, and I still still haven't read it yet.
Yeah, if you can, I read it, but I also listened to it. I did both. But even if it's just dry, it's like, whoa, there's some really pivoting things in there that really hit. And then you start doing soul searching. It's like, oh wow, you really understand yourself more, I think. I think I did anyways after reading that
Okay.
book.
Okay. I don't know. Because part of me is like, I have a list of books that I would like to purchase. And I'm just like, I don't have money for books right now. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I could do the audio books again. And I just haven't made any commitments. And then I'm like, I have a library. Like, I can go to the library, but it's not the same.
It's not the same, but you know what? It's free because what if at the end you read and you're like, I just
Yeah.
paid $30 for this book and I really don't like it, you know?
Yeah. Because
And
I'm
after maybe the first 2 chapters, yeah, my 2 weeks is over. I'm gonna just return it. It's fine. You know?
that is true. I'm like looking at my desk because my desk has like shelves on the bottom, and I literally have so many books here that I have not read. So, yeah, that's true. Thank you for saying that. Because, yeah. But hopefully, one of these days soon, I will get into Atomic Habits and see what all the talk is about because it's very highly recommended. But, anyways, I won't take up
The
too
book
much.
that was recommended to me by from Damon, what's Damon's last name? Anyways, Damon.
Lillard.
Yeah, Dillard, thank you. He couldn't think of his last name. He recommended Think and Grow Rich, and I said, okay, I'll read it.
Yeah.
And it was,
No. I
I
think
mean,
I
it's
read that
good.
one.
It's good. I like it, but I don't think I couldn't get into it after like the second or third chapter. It's like I
Mm-hmm.
got stuck at that same like in the middle of chapter 3. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's just the way it was written that I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like that sometimes. I always think like if I had to answer this question, what would I say? And like Rich Dad, Poor Dad always comes to mind as being one of those books that like shifted
Yeah.
something in me and made me think differently.
Yeah,
So I
that's a
figured
good.
I'd just throw that in there because I never said that before. But I don't want to take up any more of your time because it is Easter weekend and I want you to enjoy your time off. But thank you so much. And before I even like wrap up saying thank you, do you have anything like any last words or like anything that you're like, oh, I should have said that? I don't know.
Well, two things, I guess.
Okay.
For the single parent, mother, father, whomever, just keep going. You're doing your best. There's days when you wake up and you probably think, man, am I doing a great job? You know what? You are. You really are. You might not see it now, but you will see it in the future or as the days, weeks go by. You're doing your best to keep pushing. Just keep pushing. Don't ever give up being that parent that you are. You're doing a great job. And for those that don't love themselves, honey, just keep loving yourself the way you are because you're perfect. God made you perfect and you're perfect. And just start believing it. That's
Yes.
it.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much for your story, for your wisdom, for your laughter. Like, I really enjoyed this conversation. So, thank you so much for coming on Get Up 10.
Thank you for having me, Ginger. I appreciate it. I
Yay. Okay.
had fun.
Bye.
Bye.